Over here on the NA side of things, we have what I would consider to be a pretty hype release, because Quick, now being in a better position with the release of Ruler Scotty, now needs another really good top tier busted looper that you want to be able to use. And so since they went ahead and gave Arts Ibuki, they're going to go ahead and give Quick Senno Rikyu over here, who even in my video 2 years ago when she initially released, it was still the comparison that I was drawing between the two of them. And speaking of that video, there might be a lack of Rikyu gameplay in the background that you're going to be watching for this video. I'm still going to do the normal editing and whatnot, but it's kind of hard to find a friend Rikyu, which is really unfortunate because I could kind of still pseudo support her with Ruler Scotty and my own normal caster Scotty, but nobody seems to have pulled for this unit yet, as I'm kind of recording this now, like once the thing has gone live, and I don't have the gameplay from 2 years ago. Go figure that I wouldn't still have that, unfortunately. And I was going to try to just take the actual video and try to put it in this video to kind of still show some of her gameplay off, but unfortunately I did editing in that video, and so randomly at parts of the gameplay there are, you know, the images that pop up whenever I'm talking about something. So just wanted to apologize if you're watching this video, then randomly it's like, I mean, he's playing the event, but Rikyu is nowhere to be seen. I'm gonna try to use the friend one that they let you use in Act 2, but again, wanted to apologize in advance for that. But with that being said, let's go ahead and start diving into her kit, starting off with her hits, of which she's rocking some pretty nice ones. And you'll also notice that she, unlike most other berserkers, is not rocking a triple buster deck. In fact, unlike other berserkers, she's rocking a triple quick deck, which makes her a little bit weird, which means you would kind of want to use her with caster Scotty to get those really good quick crits, especially because she has 3 strong quick cards. But if you're going to be farming, obviously you want to use her with Ruler Scotty. So it kind of gives you a reason to use her with either Scotty. You know, if you want to do some looping, use the one that gives you more quick for that higher NP gain. And if you're going to use her for a boss fight, you use the caster one, so you can take advantage of those quick cards that are going to be getting 100% quick crit damage. But if you're worried about going into a CQ and not refunding enough off of those quick cards, don't worry, her passive skills have you covered. Because, you know, she has some of the normal stuff where it's like, you got like debuff resistance, a little bit of crit damage there, a little buster buff there. Ooh, that's a bit spicy. But then she also has this really interesting passive that boosts the NP gain specifically of her quick cards by 10%, which is just a nice thing for her to have, especially considering, looking at her first skill over here, that she already has NP gain, but not just for herself, but for the entire party. 20% for 3 turns, as well as a 20% quick buff for 3 turns, while also bombing 15 stars on a 6-turn cooldown. So not only is her natural NP gain pretty decent on its own at 0.7%, but those quick cards are also getting boosted by her passive, and then she is sharing just general NP gain with the entire party. This is something that I love to see. Unfortunately, while I do think it is really nice to be able to support your supports as a DPS, Rikyu is unfortunately a quick unit, and that means she's paired with the Scotties, and while caster Scotty does have a very strong supporting NP, you're rarely going after Scotty's cards in general. You're pretty much always using the cards of your main DPS, because again, quick teams have that issue that they really want to finish everything in 3 turns, and you're not really going to get there consistently if you're wasting time going after your Scotty cards, especially when, say, going after a Scotty NP is not as beneficial as, say, going for a Castoria or Merlin NP in their setups. It's still really good, obviously, but when you're kind of on a timer, you really want to finish as fast as possible. But this could make her really nice if you're bringing a secondary DPS to a boss fight, or you're bringing another unit in a looping composition where maybe you need somebody to handle a single target enemy. This can just be really good in general for assisting them in their ability to loop as well. Overall, the skill is very strong, and it does play into her role as being a DPS that can also be kind of a mini support, and you'll see that in her second skill over here as well, where she has a targetable 30% battery that overclocks their NP stage by 2, while also giving them 1 hit of invincibility that lasts for 3 turns, and that's all on a 6-turn cooldown. And again, I do think that if they wanted to truly make her the Ibuki equivalent for quick, they would have given her a 50%. I don't think it would have been that broken, because there is a broken servant coming out towards the end of the year, or I guess technically in January, that has a targetable 50% battery. So I think we could have given that to Rikyu, but I understand if they wanted to be a little bit more tame going with the second skill, because it also does overclock your NP by 2. And for Rikyu herself, if you're going to use it on her own self, that's boosting her power mod, which is very, very strong, which is going to lead to her doing a lot more damage. I also like that she has some method of survivability that she can offer for herself, because again, the survivability that you're getting from Scotty is usually from her NP, and like I mentioned, you're usually not going for said NP. So I like that she has a way to keep herself safe, and then obviously batteries are batteries. They're very, very good. Moving on to her third skill, this is kind of like the crit skill for her, as it's giving her 50% crit damage for 3 turns, and then buffing the crit damage of her quick cards by an additional 50% for 3 turns, while then also giving herself an on-attack buff that whenever she attacks with said quick card, she's going to lower the enemy's defense by 10% for 3 turns. So again, you really do want to play into these quick cards over here. If you've ever used the caster Scotty, you know how powerful having 100% quick crit damage is. So having that for herself, and then also being able to technically get stronger the more you use said cards, that's very, very strong in and of itself. And overall, just leads to her being a very well-rounded unit. I mean, she supports the party with her first and second skills. I guess technically the second skill is an optional support, but still, it's nice that she has that to offer. And then if you want to bring her into challenge quest, or maybe again, you only go for something like NP1 and you do rely on face cards sometimes to get through, say, like a 90 plus or a 90 plus node, having 100% quick crit damage to really back those up does ensure that you'll get there one way or another. Finally, let's look at our NP, which I think the only thing that really whiffs on this is the curse damage over there, because we don't really have too many stages where you need to stall down the enemy with damage over time. But there have now been a couple of fights that I have won with, say, Morgan's damage over time on her own NP. So I can see this being useful from time to time on Rikyu's own, NP whenever she uses it in fights. The main attribute power mod is obviously as strong as ever. Again, like the aforementioned Morgan, if you've ever used her, you know that you're able to hit a large swath of enemies between servants and just, again, the normal fodder you find in free quests. And again, because she's a berserker, you can functionally hit pretty much all of these guys. You're not really locked into just fighting sabers if she was an archer, say, or something like that. Sealing on the enemy's NP is also very nice, because if you're just going to bring her to a boss fight, sometimes whenever you break their bar, they do like to just auto fire their NP immediately. So having some insulation against that on top of the second skill is just very strong in general, and leads her to being a very, very powerful servant. You've heard it from me, and you've probably heard it from everybody in the Discord servers you're in, or Twitter, YouTube. But yeah, she's a very powerful servant, and if you are looking for a quick AoE servant, she is definitely one that I would recommend going for. We will be getting more quick AoE servants in like the next 2 events with Huyan and Britomart, and they're both very strong in their own rights, but I don't think they're as good as Rikyu over here, and she does have the nice benefit of, again, being a berserker, so you can use her everywhere. For someone like me who's going to summon for Huyan, the unfortunate thing is that she's an assassin, so she's kind of just regulated to fighting berserkers and riders, especially because I'm probably not going to go for NP2. I'll probably just get my NP1 and call it a day. But Rikyu, you don't have that problem. You'd have the benefit of just being able to fight everybody. So let me know in the comments down below how your pulls go, and if it was just super painful trying to get this unit. I don't think a whole lot of people are going to be going for the banner units, but hey, every time Guda Guda comes back around, there's always somebody that wants to get the 3-star. I've never had problems getting those. But again, let me know in the comments down below how that goes, and if this video was a catalyst, as it always does seem to serve as a catalyst for somebody. And as always, if you enjoyed, I would appreciate a like on the video, and maybe even a little subscription to the channel, as it is free and it helps me out more than you know. But with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. You guys have yourselves a nice one, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace!